This is Dave Witt with your Ag Market News Weekly Livestock Summary. This week, cattle we had 3,587 head compared to 3,098 last week and 3,708 a year ago. Compared to last week's market, slaughter steers sold mostly steady to firm. Holsteins were also steady to firm, and heifers were steady to $1 lower. Cows were mostly $2 to $4 lower, and bulls sold steady. Steers high choice and prime are 124 to 126.75. Choice is 120 to 124.75. Selection 115 to 119. Holstein steers high choice and prime are 107.25 to 111. Choice are 102.50 to 106.50. Heifers high choice and prime are 120.75 to 124. Choice are 116.75 to 121. Cows breakers are 73.50 to 77.75. Boners were 71 to 75, and lean was 65 to 69.75. Average dressing bulls were 89.50 to 97. Feeder cattle, again, there was a light run this past week. Steers 3 to 500 pounders are about 150 to 155. Heifers 3 to 500 pounders were running about 145 to 150, and bulls 3 to 500 pounders were about 125 to 132. Calves this week, there was 3,052 compared to 2,710 last week and 3,312 a year ago. Compared to last week's markets, Holstein bull calves were mostly $10 to $20 lower, and heifers were about $3 to $5 higher. Number one Holstein bulls 95 to 120 pounds is 109.50 to 121.75. Lighter calves are running about 85.75 to 95. Number twos 95 to 120 pounds was $1 to 115. Number threes were running about 63 to 90. Heifers number ones are 104 to 116. Number twos running 54 to 88. Hogs this week we had 1,295 compared to 1,483 last week and 1,025 a year ago. Compared to last week, slaughter barrels and gilts were mostly $5 to $6 higher, and sows were mostly steady to $1 higher. 49 to 54% lean were running 76 to 81.50. 45 to 49% lean were 73 to 76. 3 to 500 pounds are 73, or 3 to 500 pounds were running 63.50 to 67. 5 to 700 pounds are 67 to 70. And sheep and lambs this week, there were 1,614 compared to 1,829 last week and 2,309 a year ago. Compared to last week, lambs were mostly $10 to $20 higher. Ewes were about $10 to $20 higher. Choice lambs, 40 to 60 pounders are 188 to 198. 60 to 80 pounders are 175 to 188. 80 to 100 pounders are 150 to 180. Good ewes were 90 to 160 pounds were 56 to 86. 160 to 200 pounders were 72 to 92. Utilities, about 120 to 160 pounds were 48 to 64. And goats this week, there was 1,545 compared to 1,496 last week and 1,816 a year ago. And compared to last week's markets, kids were mostly $10 to $20 higher, nannies were mostly steady to firm, and billies were about $10 to $20 higher. Goats are sold by the head with weights estimated. Selection 1 kids 40 to 60 pounders were $162 to $170 a head. 60 to 80 pounders were $158 to $192. 80 to 100 pounders were $165 to $177. Selection 2s 40 to 60 pounders were $135 to $160. 60 to 80 pounders were $124 to $150. Selection 3s 40 to 60 pounders were running about $68 to $110. Number one nannies 80 to 125 pounds were $122 to $130. 130 to 150 pounders were $132 to $152. Selection 2s 80 to 130 pounders were running $126 to $130. Selection 3s 70 to 80 pounders were $77 to $82. Billies, selection 1s only had a few 175 pounders were about $265. Selection 2s 120 to 150 pounders were $166 to $188. And number 3s 85 pounders to 125 pounders were running about $122 to $162. Selection 1 weathers 100 to 225 pounders were $300 to $324. Selection 2s were $125 to $180, and 100 to 150 pounders were $215 to $270. This is Dave Wirt for Ag Market News. Have a good week.